Ayo. Recently, I put a video out on the channel where I went shopping at the Crystal Peak shopping centre, and while I was there, I picked up an interesting looking DVD, and I thought, why don't we check it out together? The Witches Sabbath is the film in question. It piqued my interest for its very early 2000s looking DVD cover, and wouldn't you believe it, it's a 2005 horror film directed by a guy called Jeff Leroy. As a director, he's not really done anything that I've seen before. Looks like his famous ones is something called Hell's Highway, not to be confused with the Hell's Highway that we did cover on the channel, and also something called Werewolf in a Women's Prison. I don't know, not heard of those. But in other departments, we have seen some of his work. He was the editor in The Bagman, which we've covered on the channel before, and he was also a cinematographer on Maniacal and Zombie Chronicles. So this guy's been all over the hardcore collection with the millenitrash, and I had no idea about it. This is sitting currently at a 3.1 on IMDb, and it only has 168 viewers on Letterboxd. First impressions for me, based solely off the cover, I would say that we are dealing with a prime piece of millenitrash. But who knows? Let's have a look. We begin the film with a little opening section where a witch with a large chest kills someone. After the worst font I think I've seen in a while, and an introductory montage that kinda ruins all the kills in the film, we get our second intro section. This time we're following two guys who arrive at a house for a party, the invitation of which has been given to them by some mysterious woman at a strip club. It's at this point that the film really starts to show its humour to us, and unfortunately it's that early 2000s frat boy type humour, you know, where all the guys just, all they want to do is get laid and everyone's basically an idiot.
So asshole, I plan on getting laid tonight. I don't know what you had in mind. Oh, fuck yeah, I plan on getting laid? Oh, good. Good, so why don't you be a man?
So the guys are invited inside by a weird butler, and we get our first of many fisheye lens shots. And now it's time to meet our witches. So the head witch is called Oriana, and she's played by somebody called Syn De Vil. Then we get three more witches in the coven. We have Rashon, played by Gina Valona. We get Kiara, I think she's called, played by April Betts. And lastly, we get Miko, played by Lisa Sparxxx with 3 X's. You can probably tell what she did outside of this film, and she's also probably worth mentioning because she won a world record for banging 919 dudes in 22 hours. Apparently she's gone on to deny that it was actually that many. She says it was more like 150 in 7.5 hours. But I mean, still, that's a lot. So anyway, these witches have to sacrifice 666 people every year to stay alive. And they have to do this by ripping the person's head off while they're still breathing. That's just sort of their shtick in this. And so they do that to the two dudes that have come to the party, but not before giving them a little rub first.
So, where's the hostess for this evening's events, huh?
We then cut over to our main characters, a couple called Seth and Eliza. But forget about them, because now we're off to a strip club, and we get to see the worst facade to a building in a film that I think I have ever seen. Let's take a look at it, shall we? I mean, it's clearly somebody's house, and the signage is just a big old piece of cardboard that's been painted on with acrylic paints or something, and then sellotaped onto 2 outdoor lamps. It's an arts and crafts nightmare.
Hey, what the fuck?
Inside the strip joint, we learn that this is where the witches work. It's sort of where they gather the people that they're going to murder. And we see one of the witches getting a little carried away with a cop and ripping him to pieces. This is after a large section of nudity, and this is probably a good point to mention the sheer amount of nudity that is in this film. I'm going to have a hell of a time trying to edit this thing down. But anyway, the main witch also kills some stripper with some sort of crazy metallic claw. We then cut back over to our main couple who are arguing, Apparently Seth and his mate Damien have been going to this strip joint, and Eliza's not happy about it. Seth says, well, why don't you come along with me and Damien, maybe bring a mate to sort of partner off with Damien, and you can see that it's not all too bad. Then Eliza has some strange flashback, and then we finally cut over to meeting Damien. And he is the worst example of one of those frat boy, misogynist arsehole stereotypes. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the charisma to pull off this type of arsehole character.
She better be high. Now that's a porn star!
Seth fills Damien in on the plans, and then we cut over to famous porn actor Ron Jeremy, who in this is playing a Bible salesman. How cute. He's knocking on the door of the Witches, he gets invited in, and it ends exactly how you'd expect. The gang meet up at Eliza's for pre-drinks, and Amber is Damien's date, who he is instantly inappropriate to. So he kind of kills the mood, so they decide to just fuck it, head straight to the strip club. Upon arriving there, though, Eliza is hypnotised by Rashon, who invites the group to a party, kind of like at the beginning of the film. Also, there's some sort of weird link going on here between Eliza and the Witches. It's probably something to do with these flashbacks that make no sense. Well, maybe we'll find out more later. The next day, and the gang arrive at the house, and it's looking like it's a similar setup to what we saw at the beginning of the film. And I think now's a good time to take a pause, because there's a few areas of interest that I want to mention. So, credit where credit's due, off the bat, most of the sets in this film are terrible, except the Witch's home, where it's filled with like little trinkets and knickknacks and ornaments and furniture. It's really decked out, and sure, they could have just raided a thrift store or something like that. But I don't know, it looks like a bit of thought went into it, and it's pretty good. I also want to mention the gore. It's probably the highlight of the film, honestly. It's pretty much all practical from what I could see, and we get tons of stuff. Heads getting ripped off with spines hanging off the back. It's really decent stuff. But on the other side, we have the editing, which is unfortunately one of the worst aspects of this film. There's loads of like effects put in, Windows Movie Maker type effects, like screen twists and stuff like that, and it just looks super, super cheap.
It's a beautiful name. I'm Dave.
Okay then, let's get this one finished, shall we? So, Amber's been killed off, and the other three are downstairs in the basement, trapped inside a pentagram, and the witches are doing their big ritual thing. They're trying to escape, and Damien manages it, but he's blinded and pretty much instantly killed by the witches. Then Seth has a go, he gets out, but he's just strangled and killed. And then all we've got left is Eliza. But these guys escaping, it's taken them a bit too long, and we get this thing bursts out of a door. This weird squiggly demon. I love it, look at it, it's amazing. This thing comes out and it kills the witches, and then we do a time jump. Now Eliza is working at the strip joint, and she invites all the patrons back to hers for an after party. So she's clearly carrying on what the witches were doing beforehand. And then the film ends. So you can probably tell from what we've been talking, this is a pretty cheap and badly put together film. Its pacing's all over the place, and it has some real dull moments, but it does have a few fun bits here and there. The acting is bad on all fronts. Nobody stands out as being the worst necessarily, everyone's just sort of equally bad, and the characters aren't great either. They're all annoying, naughty stereotypes, and you can't wait for them to just be killed off. The witches aren't much better either, really. They're either super flat and boring, or they're like really hamming it up. I'd say that they were probably cast with tits at the forefront. Acting didn't really come into it, I don't think. It's a sleazy and violent piece of millenitrash, and luckily it doesn't overstay its welcome too much. It's only 84 minutes, but the credits roll at 78, so it is pretty short, all things considered. It's not the best looking thing either. It's 4x3 and it's sort of quite washed out, dull looking, and just it feels cheap. The whole production feels super cheap. So this was produced by a company called Brain Damage Films, and I'm kind of curious about them. So let's take a little look, shall we? Brain Damage Films was founded in 2001 and is a distribution company that, according to Wikipedia, is still running to this day, although if you go on their website, it relinks to something called ACOR Global Marketing, so I'd have a guess that it isn't actually still going. Back in their heyday though, when they were doing stuff, their whole shtick was horror films with as much nudity and gore and sleaze as they could put in, really. Like, they were going for the extreme crowd. You know, they worked with Ron Jeremy a few times, as well as a guy called David C. Hayes, who's an actor and director, and somebody called Sean Tretter, who is a writer and director. They put out the film Traces of Death from 1993, which was made to cash in on Faces of Death, although Traces of Death apparently has a little more real footage in it, as opposed to the reenactment-riddled Faces of Death films, which, by the way, I have covered all 4 Faces of Death films on this channel, and if you've not seen those, maybe check those out. You can see my opinions on that sort of film. They didn't just distribute Witches Sabbath, though. They actually produced it and put some money behind it. This is one of a small selection of films that they actually bothered to do this with. And one of the last, actually, as well. The last one being something called Zombies Anonymous. They're quite a controversial company. They popped up around the time of Vipco's Second Wind, where the Scream Time DVDs were coming out, as well as things like Hard Gore and the Dead of Night collection, things trying to cash in on some low-budget horror films that were becoming quite popular. Apparently as well, their website was banned in Germany, and also they had some run-ins with the BBFC. And that's pretty much all I could find on Brain Damage Films, honestly. I thought I'd be able to find a little more, but there isn't much out there. So let's wrap this video up, shall we? More than anything, this film is a time capsule for an era of overly horny men, badly written women, and comically large breasts. It's not a good film, but it was never intending to be a good film. It's a bottom-of-the-barrel, Z-list horror movie, and that is exactly what you get. No one's popping in Witches Sabbath thinking they're going to find a hidden horror masterpiece. You know what you're going to get with it. And honestly, it does kind of deliver on that. You get plenty of gore, you get weird door demon things, you get a ton of nudity and sleazy moments, and that's kind of what you want from this sort of film. It's not the best put together thing, the acting's all over the place, and it can be a little dull at times, but still, when it pops, it really does give you what you want, I guess. Now, I'm not going to stand here and recommend this film to you, but I would say that if you do want to see this film, you already know that by now, just from watching the clips and things like that. Like, most people probably aren't going to get much from this, but those who enjoy a bit of millenitrash now and again, you might get something from it. So this version that I got as well, this DVD, I think this is the only way you can get it physically. It's not been reissued on Blu-ray or anything like that. I paid £2 for this at CEX, and I'd say I got my £2 worth, honestly. I think that it was worth £2. Now, I've seen the prices on eBay, and it goes for a little more than £2 on eBay. And I'd say that anything over £2, and it ain't worth it. For a £2 bargain DVD though, you can do much worse. So, thanks for watching this video, and thanks for watching this far as well. If you liked this type of video and you liked me discussing this type of film, let me know in the comments if you want to see more, or if you want to see something different as well. Open to film recommendations that you think I might either enjoy or hate, but might make an interesting video. Also, if you're interested in Brain Damage Films as a DVD company, let me know. Because I can see what I can do. I can see if I can find any more, maybe make a little running series discussing their films. I also want to thank the members and patrons. They're on screen right now. It really does mean a lot, and if you're interested in supporting me, there's a link at the bottom of the screen there as well. That is how I make a living, and there's a ton of perks if you sign up. There's like exclusive videos, early access, and you can even get your name in the credits like this lot. And it means a lot if you do want to help support me. So once again, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.